Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video on Blackwing Lair. It's Pendragon here, and we're going to redo the video for the couple of first bosses of Blackwing Lair because the tactics are quite different for most of the guilds. So let's get right into it. The first boss is Razorgore the Untamed. I'm going to mark him with the skull here. The fight for Razorgore the Untamed exists out of two phases. In the first phase, you cannot kill this boss, because if you kill him, or if he dies, everyone gets insta-kill, so you can't do that. What you need to do is you need to have people on this orb, right-clicking it, taking control of Razorgore, and then destroying all the eggs. So what I'm going to try in this video is use this macro, see if it works. It's going to show tooltip cast destroy egg. If it works, and even if people have a bugged pet bar, you can still use this macro by dragging into your bar and then using an ability. Because during the first clear we had people who couldn't see the pet bar or it was bugged, and then the eggs couldn't be destroyed, which delays your fight greatly. And delaying your fight is not what you want to do, because while you control the orb and destroy eggs, ads will start to spawn in all these corners and all these little balcony things, and it's all over the room. And there will be three different types of ads. I'll show the WoW ads page quickly here. There will be the Death Talon Dragon Spawn. They're big dragonkins that do a lot of damage. Those are your main focus to nuke down. You don't want these to stack. There are the Blackwing Mages. Just interrupt them and nuke them down fast. They have low health but high damage. And the Legionnaire are just melee orcs that cleave, are not a big of a threat. The other two have to die fast and then just kill these when you have the chance. If they're stacked, obviously, you can cleave them down. So what you want to do to deal with all those ads is to actually split your group into 4 groups, or sort of 5. So in the middle you have all your ranged DPS, your healers, and they can assist each corner as needed. And then in each corner you assign a tank with a melee group, try to spread your high DPS over these groups, so that you will have 4 tank groups spread over the 4 corners. Now, what happens when you control the orb? One person is basically sort of stunned while controlling the orb, and all these mobs that will spawn will first either charge for the boss or for the guy with the orb. They won't hit that person yet, and because once they reach those persons or the boss, they'll reset to their normal threat values and then go for the tanks and the healers and whatnot, so they'll run away. So what you want to do is not chase the mobs that run up here. You want to damage them while they're still down here, so that you have some threat on them, and then once they reach here, they'll run away and come back. Now this is important, because if you're up here, and your tank takes aggro up here, those mobs will cleave. And when they cleave, they will hit the guy controlling the orb and interrupt his cast. And then there's a 60-second cooldown to be able to do it again. So it's nice to at least assign a couple of people for the orb, so they can alternate between each other if they do get interrupted, but just make sure you don't chase them up here and then get them on you and cleave and hit everyone. That's really bad. So let's just get to how you start the fight. You come from here, you can stand under here, safe, no problem, rebuff, do a pull timer, and everyone runs up here. You AoE these mobs down, and then you split over your groups with the ranged and the healers in the middle. It's very important that the tanks that are in the corners, or the DPS or whatever, communicate where a lot of mobs are going to go. Because if one corner gets overrun, they obviously need help. And especially later on, when the boss is getting mind controlled and moving all over the place, and destroying eggs here, you can imagine that every mob that's out here will run to the boss and the orb controller. So these two sides will have way more mobs. So be aware that if the boss is here, that these groups in the outer corners should maybe pull back a little bit and help around here. Like, don't get focused on your own corner, just help when needed, but at least try to keep them spread out so it's more easy to see what's happening. Alright, so let's just get to the fight and see if my macro actually works. So obviously this is on retail, so everything's super easy, like there's no cooldown on the destroy egg ability. Alright, let me pull the macro up because... Alright, so it seems to work. Put it here. Let's see if it actually does. Yeah. So this macro seems to work. So I think on classic it should also work. So you destroy egg and you put it not on your main bar, because sometimes it gets replaced by the pet bar. You put it on one of your other skill bars, and then you can just click that ability to destroy eggs. And the more eggs you destroy, the more of the big dragons can spawn at the same time. So at the start the fight will be relatively easy, and then it gets harder as you go along. So basically you just destroy the eggs. What I would do at the start of the fight is just destroy the eggs on this balcony. They're the furthest away from the orb controller, so just destroy these first. There's usually like a 8-second cooldown between destroying egg and the next destroy egg, so you have plenty of time to move to the next one. You also see that he has different abilities, just don't use those, because you don't want any aggro on the boss from the mobs. You want the aggro to go to the tanks and stuff, so don't use the boss to fight, just focus on destroying the eggs. So here you see one of the legionnaires, the weak orcs that cleave. These are the dragonkins, they deal a lot of damage, so nuke those down first. And just keep destroying eggs. You can also see that this is a channel that starts to run out, so eventually someone has to take control of the orb again. And I think if you do a full proper orb round without getting interrupted, I think you can instantly click it again. It's roughly the same, I think. Okay, so I destroyed all the eggs. And the boss is still fighting the orcs that slept. Anyway, we destroyed all the eggs, and then the boss starts to fight. He instantly aggroes and you cannot mind control anymore. The last person to destroy an egg should be a tank, because whoever does the last egg basically gets unlimited aggro from the boss. And that's really nice, because then whenever the tank is not stunned, like for example now, he will instantly get the aggro back. So this is phase 2. In phase 2, what you want to do is you want to tank the boss roughly here, maybe here, so that you know he's back turned to the rest of the raid. You want your melee to fight behind him. Actually, let me reposition it a little bit. Kind of annoying with the stuns right now, but I'll explain the abilities in a moment. So let me drag it over here. You see these pillars here? The range DPS, melee DPS, whoever wants to prevent damage happening to them can hide behind it and they won't take any damage. So what do you want to hide from? This boss can do a fireball volley. Doesn't hit that hard, and maybe if you just kill him fast enough, there goes the volley, you can just ignore it. But if you want to, you can step aside, line of sight the fireball volley, and then walk out and continue healing, DPSing, whatever. The other thing he does is the stun, the war stomp. It's an AoE stun all around the boss. It will hit the melee, it will hit the tanks. If you get hit by that stun, you don't drop aggro, but obviously you will not be building any threat and you won't be dealing any damage. So what you want to do is pop a free action potion at the start of phase 2, so that the tanks and everyone can just position in peace and start DPSing. The other thing you need to do as a DPS is stay below the threat of both your main tank as your off tank, because you'll do it in a moment again. He'll basically do Conflagration. It's the same ability Drakisef at the end of your Upper Blackwing Spire does. He targets the main target. He basically makes him walk around like an idiot, like this, taking a lot of damage, so you need to heal that tank as well. And he will switch to the next person, which should be your off tank, another melee or whatever. So basically you have your main tank here, your off tank stands here, and when this gets conflagrated, he gets aggro and you just go back and forth and you nuke him. That's the entire fight. It's really very simple and not very gear intensive or whatever. You just need to know what to do and when to do. So focus on that. Alright, let me just bubble that and destroy him. Again, absolutely horrible loot. Okay, let's pick up the gold and let's continue to the next fight. So before we go to the next fight, it will be in a different video. Remember, do not enter the Valiastra's room, it's the next room, before you're ready. There will be thresh in there that can drop epics, hourglass sand, and elementium ore. And the moment you run in, they run away, and if you don't reach them in time, they despawn. So you want your entire raid ready to go in and do that. Alright, thanks for listening, and see you in the next video.